History of netball. The origins of netball can be traced back to 1891 when Dr. J. Naismith created the game of basketball. Although basketball was originally designed for men in 1892, it was adapted for female students with the aim of maintaining female etiquette. The modified version of women basketball became a very popular and by 1895 had spread in different forms across the United States. The gradual transition from basketball to netball was first made at Madame Oysterberg College in Dartford, England in 1987. An American teacher introduced a game that used basketball rules and outdoor court, but replaced basketball hoops with basic netted rings without backboard. This equipment change gave the sport of a new name of netball. From this point, the game has continued to grow with thousands of children and adults playing both professional, recreationally every week. 1991, the game was invented in USA and called basketball. 1897, netball was played for the first time. 1900, the Physical Education Association creates the first set of rules. 1926, the All England Netball Association is formed. 1932, the first national competition was played. 1949, the first international matches were played between England, Scotland, and Wales. 1960, a new international code of rules was adopted with the names of position and match length chains.
Rules of the game. First one, the court must measure 30.5 meters or 100 feet long and 15.25 meters 50 feet wide, with the mid-court line dividing the two halves. Number 2, each team consists of 7 players, 2 center, 2 wing attack, 2 wing defense, and 1 goalkeeper. Number 3, opposing teams must retain in their designated areas, the attacking team on their half of the court, the defending team on theirs. Number 4, a coin toss at the start of the game will decide which team will kick off. Number 5, all players must keep one foot on the floor at all times. Number 6, all players are restricted to the half of the court which they are defending. The goalkeeper may move anywhere within the goal circle. Number 7, the ball must be passed between each of the player in the attacking team before a shot is taken. Number 8, the goalkeeper must remain in the goal circle before, during, and after a shot is taken. Number 9, substitution may be made at any time. Number 10, after each goal, the game is restarted with a center pass from the team that scored.
For the objective of the game, the objective of a netball is to score more points than your opponent. A netball game lasts for a regulation 60 minutes. This is split into 4 quarters, which each quarter lasting 15 minutes. Between the first and second quarter, the third and fourth quarter, there's an interval of 3 minutes. Between the second and third quarter, halftime, there is an interval of 5 minutes. So let's proceed to the players and equipments. The standard netball games feature 7 players on each side, although games can go ahead with a team having a minimum of 5 players. There are set positions in a netball team, and these positions will limit where the player can be on the court. First, winning attack or WA. This position aims to collect the ball and deliver it safely into the goal circle to the shooters. The wing attack is only allowed in the top 2/3 of their court. The second, the wing defense or WD, is always on the defensive unless there's a turnover and he or she has to bring the ball down to his or her attacking side. He or she is responsible for defending the opposing team players, mainly the WA or the wing attack, and for stopping the ball from reaching the goal circle. He or she is to intercept at any possible chance. Third, goal shooter. This position aims to find space in order to receive the ball from their teammates and shoot at the net. The goal shooter is only allowed in the top of their court and the goal circle. Fourth, goal attack or GA. This position aims to collect the ball safely from the wing attack or center and either passes to the shooter or has a shot for themselves. The goal attack is only allowed in the top 2/3 of their court and the goal circle. Fifth, the goalkeepers or GK. The primary function is to guard the goal circle, defend the opposing shooter, and prevent them from scoring goals. He or she is also responsible for taking throw-ins at the baseline. He or she can be considered as the last line of the defense. 6. Goal defense or GD. This position deals with preventing the opposition from passing the ball into the goal circle. The goal defense is only allowed in the bottom 2/3 of their court and their goal circle. Lastly, the center or C. This position starts the game and is allowed anywhere on the court except their own and the opposing team's goal. For the netball court, which is just bigger than a basketball court, traditionally measures up at 30.5 meters or 100 feet long and 15.25 meters or 50 feet wide. The netball court is divided into 3 sections and this impacts on where players are allowed to move. The sections are referred to as the 2 goal thirds and the center or middle third. A netball game can be played with a court, 2 goals, and a ball. Regulation uniforms are part of the game in official matches, but impromptu netball games can take place with a minimum amount of equipment.
Scoring. A goal is scored in netball when the ball is passed to a player in the goal third who shoots the ball through their opponent's goal ring. Only the goal shooter or goal attack can score goals in netball and they must be within the semicircle when they shoot, winning the game. To win in netball, you must score more points than your opponent. The netball must be moved around the court by passing and there are a number of different passes available to the player. The ball must pass or be worked to the goal shooter and goal attacker players who attempt to shoot from inside the semicircle. Match consists of 4 quarters lasting 15 minutes each. Each team can have a maximum of 7 players and a minimum of 5. The court must be divided into 3 sections with player holding a specific position on the court. If a player moves into position that they shouldn't be in, they will be deemed to be outside. Players cannot hold the ball for more than 3 seconds. Players cannot take more than 1.5 steps when is possession of the ball. The ball must go through the ring hoop for a goal to be hidden. Obstruction. Obstruction of a player in possession of the ball. A player attempt to intercept or defend the ball must be at least 3 feet or 0.9 meters away from the player within the ball. This distance is measured from the holding foot of the player in possession of the ball. Thus, any attempt or intercepting or defending the ball must be made at length or the move will result in penalty pass to be awarded for obstruction. Obstruction of a player not in possession of the ball. Using your hands to block a player of the ball is allowed as long as it is for the purpose of catching, deflecting, or intercepting a pass, obtaining a rebound from an unsuccessful shot or goal, or signaling or a pass. An obstruction occurs if you mark a player with your arms out. This is because a player cannot 1. Move into landing space of an opponent. Position so closely to an opponent contact is inevitable. Push, trip, hold, or learn or lean on an opponent resulting in physical contact. Knock or remove the ball from the possession of an opponent while she is holding in her hands, or push the ball into hands of an opponent.
This is the Shock Absorber Netball Academy at intosports.com. In this guide, we're going to take a closer look at the game of netball and cover some of the key things you'll need to know if you're going to be playing or watching the game. Okay, let's start from the beginning. Netball is played on a rectangular court measuring approximately 30 meters by 15 meters. The court is divided into thirds. The middle third is known as the center third, and the two areas at either end are called the goal thirds. In each goal third, you'll find a semicircle known as the circle, containing a post with a ring and a net. In the center third, you'll find a smaller circle known as the center circle. This is where games are started from and then restarted whenever a team scores a goal. The long outer lines of the court are known as the sidelines, and the shorter outer lines are called the goal lines, and the two lines that separate the thirds of the court are known as the transverse lines. Although netball is a fast-paced and dynamic team game, it's also a non-contact sport, although you wouldn't always believe it if you watch international and top-level national matches. If you're going to play netball, then it's important that you know the areas of the court, because no single player on a netball team can move in every area of the court. Each netball team has 7 players on court. Each player position has a specific name: the goalkeeper, the goal defense, the wing defense, the center, the wing attack, the goal attack, and the goal shooter. You can easily spot which position someone is playing from the bib on their kit. The 2 letters correspond to the initials of their position. GK is the goalkeeper, WA is the wing attack, and so on. Let's look at where each player can move on the court. The goalkeeper is only allowed to move in the goal third that she's defending. The goal defense can move in the goal third and the center third, and the wing defense can move in the goal third and a center third but cannot go into the circle. The center can move in all thirds but can't go inside either circle. The wing attack can move in the center third and opposition goal third but not inside the circle. The goal attack can move in the center third and attacking goal circle, and the goal shooter can move only inside the goal third she's attacking. You can find out more about each of the positions in the Essentials section of this academy. A game of netball is made up of 4 quarters, each lasting 15 minutes, with a 3-minute break after the first and third quarters and a 5-minute break halfway through between quarters 2 and 3. The game is won by the team that scores the most goals, and each team sets up opportunities to score goals by passing the ball down court to the goal shooter or goal attack in the circle. Both these players can score goals, and they have to be standing inside the circle when they shoot. The game is started at the beginning of each pass with a center pass, made by the center from the center circle. Teams alternate the first center pass of each quarter, so if the team playing in white throws the center pass at the beginning of the first quarter, then it'll be the team wearing the black kit that starts the second quarter. If the ball goes out of court, then the game restarts with a throw-in by the opposing team to the player that last touched the ball before it went out of court. Occasionally during a game, the umpire won't be able to decide which player is at fault following a 50-50 situation. When this happens, the game is restarted with a toss-up. Like most sports, netball has lots of rules, but you only need to know a few of the most important ones to get started or follow a game. Games are refereed by 2 umpires that each cover half of the court. The umpire will blow a whistle to start, restart or stop the game when a goal has been scored, and to signal when an infringement is to be penalised. Let's look at rules for passing and receiving the ball first. When a player has the ball in their hands, they have to release a pass or shoot within 3 seconds, and they have to observe the footwork rule as they do. Players can use a range of passes to get the ball to their teammates, and there's 2 key additional rules to remember in relation to passing. Firstly, the short pass rule. This rule states that at the moment the ball is passed, there must be room for a third player to move between the hands of the thrower and those of the receiver, which effectively means that the ball must actually leave one player's hands and fly a distance equivalent to the width of a player before it touches the receiver's hands. There's also a limit on how far you can throw a pass to. You can throw a pass across the full width of the court, but when the ball is passed down court, it must not pass over more than one transverse line. What this really means is that the ball cannot be thrown from one goal third to another. It must be passed to a player in the centre third first and then passed on, or at the very least touched by a player in the centre third. The footwork rule puts a limit on the movement a player can make once they have the ball in their hands, and it's interpreted differently based on a number of situations. Firstly, if a player receives the ball with one foot grounded, or jumps to catch the ball and lands on one foot, then they can step with the other foot in any direction any number of times, pivoting on the landing foot. They can also lift the landing foot, but they must throw or shoot before the landing foot is regrounded. Alternatively, in this situation, the player can step or jump from the landing foot onto the other foot, and then step or jump again, but must throw the ball or shoot before regrounding either foot. Secondly, if a player receives the ball while both feet are grounded, or jumps to catch, and then lands on both feet simultaneously, then they can step with either foot, but whichever foot they pivot from becomes the landing foot. In the same way as before, they can then step or pivot as many times as they wish, but if they lift their landing or pivoting foot, then the ball must be released before the foot is regrounded. Again, as before in this situation, the player can step or jump from the landing foot onto the other foot, and then step or jump again, but must throw the ball or shoot before regrounding either foot. This might all seem a little complicated, but you'll soon get the hang of it. Finally, let's look at the key rule for marking and defending. When a defending player marks a player with the ball, they can stand no nearer than 3 feet or 90 centimeters from the player with the ball. The 3-foot mark is measured as the distance between the passing player's grounded foot and the nearest foot of the defender, or the place where that grounded foot had been if they lifted it. If the player with the ball doesn't move their feet at all, then the 3 feet is measured as the distance between the foot of each player closest to the other. At the 3-foot mark, the defender can defend or attempt to intercept the ball using a range of movements, including jumping. But if they land within 3 feet of that player and they still have possession of the ball, then an obstruction may occur. So that's the basics of netball covered. If you're keen to learn more, why not check out the Essentials section now? Or maybe watch a skills guide to learn a new pass, or maybe how to shoot. Intersport.com, the home of world-class coaching online.